1993 F-150 XLT 5.8 liter, also known as a 351 Windsor. So if you're gonna replace or take out your tube that goes across the back of the motor, like I did, you're taking your smog out. Some guys want to take all that out. I think you could probably just disconnect the hoses and plug them, but if you want to put plugs in the heads back there, these heads are identical. You can switch them left to right. So on the back of the engine, you'll have a hole that looks like that, except it's going to be full of garbage, and you can see down in there you get all the exhaust soot and grease and stuff like that, corrosion buildup. So to clean that out, you would need either a 5/8 by 11 tap, or you can do a little redneck engineering and take you a hard bolt, harder than what you're tapping into. I just use grade 8. I'm just cleaning this out. I'm not making a new thread, but if you got a really hard bolt, I mean, basically a tap is just a tool steel bolt that's got flutes ground in it. So you see the cutting edge, you'll rotate like that. So the cutting edge I left alone, and I ground down on this side of it and tapered it up just short of it, and I quit grinding right there. And just take a Dremel tool, and then when you drill these, you don't want to, or when you grind these, you don't want to grind straight towards the center line. You want to grind kind of across like that, where that's got a slight bite to it, a tooth, kind of like a skill saw blade. And that's what you do to make a poor man's tap or a thread chaser. So you just put that in here, and you'll run it in as far as you can. You know, I wouldn't put more than about 20 pounds of torque on it maybe. And then you back it back out, clean the hole, clean the tap, put it in, go a little ways, take it out, clean the tap, clean the hole. This is not like a regular tap. There's not very much clearance, so it's going to take a while. I used a little 1/4 inch impact, just back and forth, and it still took a while. So I need to go a little bit more here, because I don't want to risk cracking the head by putting too much torque on it. So just got me a Allen head here, and I'm going to go ahead and put this camera in a tripod, and I'm going to see how this works here. Hopefully everything's going to stay put. So I'm going to go in and come out, go in. Okay, so that's far enough of what I want to do, and you can see the garbage you get every time. So then what you need to get, we call them head inserts. I think I got this, I don't know, wherever I got it from, probably Amazon. So for this, it's a Pioneer PF-580-4 head insert. Basically, 4 of them comes in this box. What it is you got a 7/16 by 14 thread on the inside with a 5/8 by 11 thread on the outside of it. And I don't have a ruler with me, but this is, I'd say, somewhere around 1.25 to 1.5 inches long. But this is what you put in the front of the block, that's your brackets for your air conditioner bracket, and then on the other side of the engine, your, well, depending on what motor you have and stuff, your alternator. So you say, well, okay, if I don't have a giant screwdriver, how am I going to put that in there? And I don't even know. Somebody said, oh, you need the right tool for it, and I couldn't even find a head insert tool online. So grade 8 bolt and a grade 8 jam nut. So what you want to do, you screw this down, Now that bottomed out, but I don't want to bottom it out. I want to back it off a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to put never-sees on this thing and on this bolt here, because I may have to get it out one day. And you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, put this much never-sees, don't put this, put a little dab, glob it all over it, on and on and on. Well, I've been putting pipe and bolts in for over 20 years now. And if you put too much on it, you screw it in, it's just going to wipe it off and you'll end up with a glob on the outside. But if you don't put enough on it, then what's the point? So, you know, you can put never-sees on something. You know, if I was going to put it on a regular bolt, they'd go all the way up. If you're worried about keeping it clean inside, you'd clean it off that last thread there. You'd clean those off, and maybe you'd start from about right here back. Doesn't really matter on this though. But I'm going to put this on there. I want to screw it in far enough to where I'm not going to pull these threads out of this when I tighten this up. So now I'm going to jam this up, and it may mess that little slot up a little bit. But now, this someday may have to be pulled out, and this is 2,000 degree anti-seize thread lubricant, resist temperatures up to over 2,000 degrees. Machine shop that worked on these heads told me that'd be plenty. So now, like I said, you'll take this. It's not bottomed out, so I'm going to back it off a little bit. And then I'm going to jam this nut up to it. I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to get that started. And this is going to screw in pretty easy because I chased that hole. So I'm getting tight right there. I don't want it to go in loose because I don't want the stuff to pull out later. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten it down with that nut. And I'm going to go all the way until it's flush with the block. Because if it's not flush with the block, you're going to have interference issues. That wouldn't be good for anybody. So that's flush with the block right there. Now, I'm going to hold back. I'm going like I'm tightening here. So I'm going to hold this direction. I'm going to put this wrench on here. I'm going to pull this back. Now, I should be able to just back my bolt out. I should never have to take that out. But if I do, I'm going to put this in there. You may end up having to put a little spacer in there too, grind down a washer if you ever had to take this out in the future. But I would take that, put a hold back on this, and tighten the P1 and dog snot out of that up against it. And then try to tighten it. Once it's tight, you might tighten it until this bolt turns just a touch. It's just going to have to be a guessing game. And then what you'd do is you'd put your wrench on this and you'd back it off. But you'd also put a wrench on this a little bit so you want friction on that head. And you'd so you tighten the crap out of both of them. And then you'd try to pull this thing out. And you'd see if it'd back that plug out. Other than that, I mean, you're going to have to fight it, and I'm sure there's a video somewhere. But anyway, so now I've got my insert in there, and you would want that to be flush with the block, and it's flush with the block. So hopefully that'll help somebody, and I didn't move the camera around too much there with my elbow. And now I can start putting this stuff back together. Show you a couple things here. So there's your oil pressure sensor right there. Then your wiring harness that goes around your fuel rail out of there. You've got the this part here will go to your distributor cap. You've got your I believe they call this is your water temperature sensor for your gauge. And I see guys put fancy plates on these, but I just took a 3/8 inch pipe tap, just a cheap one, cheap as you can get. It's aluminum. Tap that a little ways and put a 3/8 inch pipe plug in there with some never sees on it. So anyway, next time you see this, hopefully I'm going to have a bunch of crap on the front of the motor here, and might even have it running. We'll see.